Hello and welcome to another edition of Bombchu News. My name is Chris, I'm joined by Andron, and today we'll be covering the news that we found interesting. Former IGN editor Filip Miucin is having all of his reviews and editorials pulled from IGN after the removal of his Dead Cells review due to plagiarizing large parts of the video from YouTuber Boomstick Gaming's review of Dead Cells, which was shortly followed after by his firing from IGN. Miucin took to his own YouTube channel in order to quote-unquote apologize. Miucin claimed that any accusations of plagiarism in his Dead Cells review were purely coincidental and that he didn't deserve any of the blame. He went on to challenge websites like Kotaku to try and find proof of any other articles he's plagiarized, confidently stating, quote, "You can keep looking, Kotaku, and please let me know if you find anything," end quote. However, his confidence soon disappeared as evidence quickly began to pile up, showing that Filip Miucin has been plagiarizing the works of others for his own benefit for quite a while now. Evidence was found showing that his Bayonetta 2 review borrowed heavily from a Polygon article. He copied word for word from a NeoGAF post when talking about the Switch's HD Rumble feature, and he even pulled from a fellow IGN writer's review of Octopath Traveler in an opinion piece he wrote about the game. In response, IGN Reviews editor Dan Stapleton posted to Twitter, saying that he had seen enough evidence and were in the process of taking down almost everything he wrote from the website. Stapleton also stated that they hope to release new reviews in place of the reviews Miucin had previously written. Plagiarism in the world of journalism isn't something to be taken lightly, and it's good to see IGN responding so quickly and harshly in this situation. While part of me wanted to give Miucin the benefit of the doubt until we heard his side of the story, that feeling quickly faded after the overwhelming amount of evidence began stacking up against him. Hopefully the last traces of Filip Miucin are gone from IGN before long, and replaced by reviews from writers with a little bit more integrity.
Diablo Legends may not see release on PlayStation 4. In an interview with Game Informer, Bethesda's Pete Hines spoke on the upcoming console launch of Elder Scrolls Legends. After confirming that the card game would support cross-platform play and cross-platform progress, he went on in detail as to whether this meant the game would release on PS4. He stated, quote, "It is our intention in order for the game to come out, it has to be those things on any system. We cannot have a game that works one way across everywhere else except for on this one thing," end quote. Later in the interview, Game Informer asked more directly about the title not coming to PS4, and Hines was a bit more candid. He said, quote, "We continue to talk to all of our platform partners, but those terms are essentially non-negotiable. We can't be talking about one version of Legends where you take your progress with you, and another version where you stay within that ecosystem, or it's walled off from everything else," end quote. I have to say that Pete Hines was very smart with his word choice as he somehow avoided calling out Sony directly. However, it's clear that any platform partner not willing to play ball will more than likely be excluded from titles Bethesda makes with the intention of crossplay in mind. When major developers start considering not releasing a game on your platform because of a lack of a feature that is fairly easy to turn on, I think it's about time to reconsider a policy. I mean, seriously, Sony. Come on.
Diablo 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. After teasing a few new Diablo-themed projects on Twitter back in May, a Diablo 3 port for the Switch was leaked a day early by Forbes. The Switch port will feature both the Reaper of Souls and Rise of the Necromancer expansions, as well as a few Nintendo-themed exclusive items. Players will be able to obtain a Triforce portrait frame, a very cool-looking Ganondorf armor set, as well as a few other unnamed extras from The Legend of Zelda. The game will support a variety of multiplayer options, taking full advantage of the versatility that the Switch offers. Players will be able to do 4 players on one Switch console, or use 4 systems to connect for local multiplayer without the use of Wi-Fi. The game will also support online via the upcoming Switch Online service. Diablo 3 was a great game, and with the portability that the Switch offers, combined with all the expansions plus this new Nintendo-themed content, Diablo 3 on the Switch seems like a perfect fit. Diablo 3 The Eternal Collection is set to launch on the Nintendo Switch later this year.
Video game fans in China may have just been struck a critical blow thanks to bureaucracy. According to a report from Bloomberg, it has been 4 months since a new game has been approved for sale within the country's market. Reports from people within the Chinese government pointed to an ongoing restructuring that has left vital departments without a leader. One of the departments currently in disarray, the National Television and Radio Administration, is responsible for granting licenses to games so they can be sold legally. Obviously, this causes a major issue. The ripple effects have already been felt and are hitting certain members of the game industry hard. One example is the publishing company Tencent, who has lost $150 billion of its market value since the beginning of this year. Tencent was slated to release desktop versions of PUBG and Fortnite as well as Monster Hunter World in China, however the first 2 are still frozen because of a lack of licensing. Monster Hunter World was allowed, but has already been pulled from the market shortly after release. I can't imagine the frustration of gamers in China eagerly awaiting these games and being stopped only because the government has interfered. Here's hoping this doesn't last too long and they're able to get everything back on track as it should be.
Well, that's all the news that we found interesting today. Let us know what you thought about it down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.